Okay, so who out there has not seen the interview with Mercer and Company and our good friend Professor Dungeon Master? And who out there who has not seen the video is making accusations and speculations and concentrations and other words that end in ations about the video? Anybody? Well, there was an interview, and Professor Dungeon Master, God love him, went straight for the daggerheart with some very powerful questions regarding the choice to go campaign floor / Dungeons and Dragons, the future or lack thereof of Daggerheart, is Critical Role scripted, and some other questions. And shortly after the interview, a lot of people weighed in on what they thought was said, what they thought they meant, how much they believed, how much they didn't believe. But really the big question coming out of all of this is not why D&D. I think it's pretty obvious why D&D. I was a little shocked, but coming to think about it and listening to everything they said, I was like, okay, yeah, I get why you went D&D. Unfortunately, that doesn't really say a lot about your baby. And it's the same thing I've been saying since the first announcement. And they can, decorate it with all sorts of different types of decorations and say what they want about why they went D&D 2025 over critical Daggerheart. But basically, you brush away all the pomp and circumstances, and the what they're saying is Daggerheart wasn't ready, and we don't have faith in it. And there's nothing that they can smoke and mirrors to change that. That's floating out there. No matter what the future or lack thereof of Daggerheart is, Critical Role basically said, we don't have faith in the audience, and we don't have faith in the system. Now, they haven't said they're giving up completely on Daggerheart. That was one of the questions. There will be sidebars of Daggerheart. We know there's going to be a couple live plays coming up using them Daggerheart. We know a couple other groups are doing Daggerheart for theirs, and we're hearing mostly good things. We've even seen a Daggerheart superhero role-playing game, which, blah, 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 stuff like that. So it's still going to be out there. I mean, it came out like a thunderstorm. Who got that thunderstorm on the other day? That was awesome. And it took the industry over. But now we're into, 2 months, and people are already like, what was that? It's definitely not in the top. It's still selling, but it's definitely not selling as well as it was. And yeah, because there was a lot of excitement going into Daggerheart, and it was going to be the D&D killer, and following up on everything Mercer and Company said in 2023 and everything they said about the industry, and then capturing the Pokemon of Crawford and Perkins and the other people that they've, captured and into the gravitational pull of Darrington Press. But then they announced, oh, hey, it's going to be 2024 D&D, heavily modified, run by this guy, Brandon Lee Mulligan. Yeah, because that was a good choice. And it's going to be 14 people across 3 different tables. It's going to be a West March campaign, but it's not going to be a West March campaign, because if you listen to the description that Brandon Lee Mulligan has given, yeah, obviously Mr. Mulligan has no idea what a West March campaign is. It's going to be a railroad. Brandon Lee Mulligan is famous for his railroads. So a lot of the people that they've chosen don't have great reputations, especially the young lady whose name I'm going to get wrong. So the young lady who has all the controversy attached to her, and another gentleman that was chosen apparently also has a lot of controversy attached to him. So yeah, not apparently, yeah. Where's Deborah Ann Wool? Where's Deborah Ann Wool? Where's Joe? Where's Vin Diesel? Where's TJ Storm? Where's the people who we know love D&D? But no, they went with a bunch of people, most of whom none of us recognize. And the few we do recognize have this cloud of why them attached to them. So things don't look great. Now, we know, we've all heard why D&D. Why D&D heavily modified 2024. And of course, the first reaction to why D&D 2024 was that Wizards of the Coast rolled up the big Wizards of the Coast mobile to Calabasas, the home of Critical Role, Darrington Press, and offered them a whole bunch of money. To which they've said, oh, no. They said multiple times during the interview that Wizards of the Coast has offered them no money. They're not getting anything from Wizards of the Coast. There was no check, no money order, no nothing. There's no financial reason why they would have chosen Dungeons and Dragons 2024 over, Daggerheart. No financial reason whatsoever. Yeah, no financial reason whatsoever. Wizards of the Coast did not offer them any money. As for merchandising, Wizards of the Coast's big torchbearer for the future of Dungeons and Dragons, well, Professor DM didn't ask about the on the backside, on the merchandising, on the what's the future of the D&D 2024 Critical Role campaign for breakfast cereal. No. But we do know that no money was offered to them. Now, of course, that doesn't mean anything also about advertising. I mean, if they start doing skits about D&D Beyond again, or Roll20, or the figures that they're using, or the maps, or the projector, or the sound, and all those are somehow connected to Dungeons and Dragons, well, that's not Wizards of the Coast giving them money directly. Backing the horse that is 2024 D&D on paper makes sense. I mean, okay, we can all look at how poorly 2024 D&D is doing now, but once the Critical Role bandwagon starts running in a few days, isn't it October 7th is the first one? That could change how sales of 2024 D&D go forward. Now, what does this mean for Daggerheart? After all this excitement for Daggerheart, what can we expect for Daggerheart? Are they just abandoning it? Well, no, they're not abandoning it. They're just it's gonna still be there. They're still gonna do things with Daggerheart, but that initial rush of excitement is definitely already starting to die down. Sure, it's still in the top 5 sellers, it's still #1 sellers, but compared to say a month ago, how many people are talking about Daggerheart other than this idiot right here? Not that many, because we're all focusing our attention on the betrayal of Critical Role to use D&D rather than Daggerheart, after everybody expected that Campaign 4, except for me, was going to be D&D. Because it sounded like they were even saying, yeah, fuck D&D, we're going to do Dagger. Here's our baby. Here's our dagger to the heart of Wizards of the Coast. But now they're saying, oh no, it's D&D. It's going to be D&D. We've got our reasons for D&D. But there's still going to be side things. There's going to be those off weeks when we do the 3-parter or whatever. We're still going to be doing Daggerheart, guys. Don't worry. Don't worry. We're still going to be taking care of our younger kid, but most of the attention is going to go to the other kid, because we know Dungeons and Dragons 2024 is guaranteed. And again, yeah, that all feels wine. Hi, Ironcaster. Hi, Technobabel. It all makes sense. I mean, you can say whatever you want about Critical Role, what they implied, the betrayal, the future. At the end of the day, Darrington Press is a business, and all these people are in it for the money. This is their job, and they're going to make the choice that makes the most sense for them to do their job. And presenting the clusterfuck that Campaign 4 is going to be, with a system that the audience is comfortable with, is the best choice to make, it would seem on paper, to make money. Plus, we can add to that consistently, every time Critical Role has done something, I was just about to mention that, every time Critical Role has done something that wasn't D&D, with one exception, it failed miserably. Candle Obscura. Failed miserably. In fact, failed so miserably, the guy who created has said he's regretted making it because he's not even a fan of the genre. I'm going to make a Call of Cthulhu steampunk campaign, but I'm not a fan of the genre. And all the other times they make to do other games, with the exception of Honey Heist, all those have done relatively poorly. Even like the movie tie-ins, the Mortal Kombat, the Persona, the Witchfinder one with Vin Diesel, they've all not done as well as D&D, because that was what's first. That's what everybody knows. They want to see the core cast together playing some version of Dungeons and Dragons, getting into shenanigans. I mean, yeah. Could they get into shenanigans, the same level of shenanigans with Daggerheart? Sure, because the cast and their actions way overshadow the system, right? I mean, as long as they're playing fantasy and as long as it's the same people in the same world, or a world we kind of give a fuck about, doing the same thing, the system is secondary. I mean, they're saying, well, we can't do it with Daggerheart. It's like, well, really, how often did the system really matter with campaign 1, 2, or 3? Oh, they're playing D&D. They could really be playing anything. It's what they do that matters. Well, we're going to add, 7 more people to that because we don't know the availability of the core players. Well, that's not going to go over well. We've got this new DM who isn't Matt Mercer. Well, that's not going to go over well, but we'll give it a chance. We'll give it a chance, guys. Yeah. So then we come down to the why D&D, which is why this all started, right? And the clusterfuck that is awaiting campaign 4 and the clusterfuck that is awaiting Daggerheart. Because the second they announced that it was D&D, ba-tam! That was the nail. That was the first nail in the coffin for Daggerheart. And it does not bode well for the future for Daggerheart. Now, what's going on with Daggerheart? Why is Mercer not the DM? Why is Daggerheart being put to the side, other than the closing argument that they don't have faith in Daggerheart? Well, the theory, the rumor, none of the, I don't know how much of this is true. This is all spitballing. This is all guessing. The evidence the circumstantial evidence seems to point to that Mercer, Perkins, Crawford, and the other guy, if he's even still there, are going to be working on Daggerheart in the background. So at some point in time, we will see Daggerheart 1.1. But that's still a clusterfuck. Instead, unless Daggerheart 2026 comes out with something amazing attached to it, they've kind of already killed it by saying, oh yeah, fuck it, we're going back to D&D. And they can paint that story any way they want. But basically what they're saying is, fuck it, we're going back to D&D. We don't have faith in Daggerheart. How would people respond if they changed genres? Well, the record speaks for itself. Every time they've tried something that isn't the core group doing fantasy, with the exception of Honey Heist, it is done poorly. And usually they have received not only horrible reviews, but like viciously obnoxious, disgusting responses. Like, how dare you play this horror game? Fuck you, I'm going to hunt you down and kill you. They're making so many changes and shakeups to the show that I think they're afraid the audience might stick with them without a familiar element or two. Well, yeah, the core group is going to be there, and we're going to see Matt playing them. We're just not going to all see them all at the same time. Sometime it might be table 1, sometime it might be table 2, sometime it might be table 3, because it's a West March. Except no, it's not. If you read and listen to Mulligan's description of his upcoming campaign, you got to follow my NPC. No, we don't. It's a West March. What if we don't want to do anything? Oh, my phone's ringing. Hold on. Talk amongst yourself. I am terribly sorry. Thank you, all 5 of you, for chicking with me. OGGM's sister's cat is basically on death's door, and OGGM's sister is not handling the potential death of her cat very well. So helping her deal with that grief and psychology. I appreciate each and every one of you who stuck around. Please consider subscribing to this idiot right here. This guy needs so many subscribers right now. He is doing so much awesome stuff. So please take a moment to subscribe to the God of Ka, because wow, he blows me away with how he's mastered his editing. No, pretty much. OGGM Sister's Cat is probably going over the Rainbow Bridge this weekend, which is very sad. Okay, back to picking on Critical Role and the choice to go with D&D. So we were talking about basically it's money, right? It's money. It's money. It's money. It's money. But as I was saying, it's not what the choice of West Marches was a mistake because Ad Ka said, "Oh, what if my favorite X isn't this episode? I'm not going to watch." A lot of people are going to be confused. Casual viewers. Yeah, I mean, even it's not a West March campaign. I know they're calling it a West March campaign, but it's not. It can't be. The formula of the situation and what everything Brandon Mulligan has said, it's not really a West March campaign. It's just sort of a mess. And I don't think it's going to work. I think it's going to crash and burn. And I think even the most optimistic is going to be either it's going to crash and burn or one table will get less and less attention as the standout table gets more and more attention, and the tables will, rise or fall based upon availability. And is this all just smoke and mirrors to prepare us for the fact that the cast that we know and love is slowly stepping away, which is inevitable? I mean, they're getting older, and how much longer are they going to want to do this? Matt and Marisha might want to start a family. Travis and Laura might want another child. We don't know what goes on with their lives behind the screen. We don't know what goes on other than what we see and what they say. And as much as they can claim it's not scripted, they do present a product. They're actors. Of course they are. So everything we see, even the BS interviews, is the production of Matt Mercer, the production of Travis, the production of Darrington Press, the production of Critical Role. They're actors. This is what they do. You don't see the real Matt Mercer. You see the character Matt Mercer chooses to play when the camera's on him. Just like you don't see the real OGGM, you see the character I choose to play when I'm talking to you guys, right? We all wear masks. So the general, even the most obnoxious, Alexander said, give the guy a chance. And I'll give him a chance. Whatever. If I ever watch it. But I think there's just too many factors built into it for it to succeed. Like, again, well, my favorite character is Laura's Pixie. And Laura's out for the next 2 months. So I'm not going to see the Pixie. And therefore, I'm not going to watch the show till Laura comes back. And other people, yeah, and there's just so many different things. Well, what if one table is more popular than the other table? What if somebody has to go and do a movie and we don't see him for 6 weeks or 3 months or whatever, So yeah, I don't think it's going to work. It's too many people. It's too much randomness. It's a type of scenario that isn't going to work in the controlled environment of a television show, which is what it is, right? It's a television show. And they can say it's not scripted, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to get into that argument. And they can present us all the bells and whistles for why they chose D&D, which are, as we know, pretty simple. One, it's what the audience knows. Our audience doesn't come here to watch us play something else. We've learned that over the past 10 years. They want to see us playing fantasy, and 99% of the audience compares fantasy. Instantly you think Dungeons and Dragons, you think Dungeons and Dragons, you think fantasy, you think fantasy, you think Dungeons and Dragons, you think Critical Role, you think Dungeons and Dragons. Doesn't matter what system they're playing, as long as it's fantasy, as long as there's crazy voices, as long as it's the core group doing shenanigans, rolling a dice size that we recognize in quote unquote fantasy. So people know D&D, they instantly associate Critical Role with D&D. Anytime Critical Role tries to do something that isn't D&D, it inevitably fails, even Candle Obscura. And I seriously doubt we will ever see anything come out from the system that was based upon Candle Obscura, the Immortal Worlds. Yeah, so Daggerheart, they claim, will still be played just in the background, like we are speculating that it's being worked on still by Mercer and Perkins and Crawford and Steven, and that we will possibly see a Daggerheart 1.1 down the future. But I don't think it'll do well. This does, no matter what, it doesn't bode well for the fate of Daggerheart, because we're not seeing it. And they're saying we chose D&D over our baby. Reason number two, well, Daggerheart doesn't really do high-level, large group. It's meant for small groups doing theatrical play, i.e. Daggerheart was designed for us to play, but it doesn't really work for anything other than us, which is why we need to go back and fix it, thus the rumor, speculation, possibility of a Daggerheart 1.1. System doesn't work with large groups. System doesn't work over with high levels, you know, and D&D, you're going to get a 15th level, whatever. 3, the players don't know Daggerheart. The players don't know Daggerheart. And we don't have the time to teach them Daggerheart. And we don't have the faith that the audience is going to want to watch them play Daggerheart. We know we want to see this band of merry troublemakers do stuff with D&D, because that's what we're comfortable with, and that's what they're comfortable with. And Brandon Lee Mulligan doesn't know Daggerheart. So he's going to run what we associate him with, and he's going to run to learn. Oh, no, Dice Tales, they specifically said Hasbro's not giving them any money. We're giving them advertising revenue and merchandising, but they're not giving them any money. And as we all know, there's more money in merchandising than there is in any amount of money that they're going to give you at the front gate. Look at Star Wars. So nobody's ready. Nobody understands it. They don't have faith the audience is ready for it. Daggerheart can't do West March, because there's just too many moving parts. Daggerheart can't do large groups, and Daggerheart can't do high level. So we're putting it to the side with possibility of the OGGM's theory being the truth. But really, what they said is, we made this product, but we don't have faith in it. And then the final thing that they dropped was, oh, turns out that has been the plan all along. What the fuck? Campaign 4 had been planned to be Brandon Lee Mulligan doing D&D since way before Daggerheart even came out. They claimed they were talking about it years ago. That this had been in the works for years, and they finally got everything together to present us with Campaign 4 in this brand new world, run by this brand new DM, using this brand new setting. Oh no, Travis said, it's been in the boiler. We've been working on it behind the scenes for years. Yeah, I know we never mentioned it before, and we've been saying Daggerheart since 2023, but turns out, fuck it. We're going to go D&D, and it was always meant to be D&D. Of course, if you were planning all this since supposedly the dawn of time, you had more than enough time to prepare Daggerheart to be Campaign 4's system, and to prepare your cast of players and DM to run Daggerheart for Campaign 4, to prepare the audience for Campaign 4, and to give us Daggerheart the way it should be presented, so that it was ready. Daggerheart should have been ready if you've been working on it forever. I agree with, I call bullshit. I call, not bullshit, but I call Hollywood smoke and mirrors. I call shenanigans. I call, well, we're never going to know the truth because we don't know what goes on behind the scenes at Darrington Press. And we'll never know what the real, because we're always presented with the characters that they choose to play. I think Professor Dungeon Master did the best he could in the situation he had. I'm sure there was a lot of things that were talked about before the interview of what he could and couldn't say. You know, they're professionals. They know what they're doing. So we've all heard my theory about what I think the plan is, right? And the fact that Mercer, Perkins, and Crawford are still working on it seems to add to my theory. The fact that it's 2024 D&D with modifications seems to add to my theory. The building blocks of the world and how it is a constant state of flux, and that the world we see now might not be the same world we see a week from now, a month from now, a year from now, and that the world has changed already because of the backstory that Brandon Lee Moak, all seem to poke. Yes, somebody please invite me to a D&D game. All seem to point to my theory, which is the theory I stated when we heard that Campaign 3 was going to end Xandria. We know it. Sidebar, since they're using D&D, it sort of makes everything Matt Mercer did in Campaign 3 utterly pointless, which would therefore add evidence to the fact that they've been working on it since Campaign 3 as being shenanigans. Why would you go to all the trouble of erasing any connection between your work and Wizards of the Coast if you're just going to go back to Wizards of the Coast? Well, it was always the plan. Then why did you kill all those people off? So yeah, we have all this evidence. Doesn't mean that what I think is true, but it's the best theory I can come up with using my little understanding of the industry and stuff like that. And it was the theory that I proposed towards the end of how I thought Campaign 3, Campaign 4 should start. Campaign 4 should start as Dungeons and Dragons. I said that way back when, and I still say it. Modified, and then slowly over the run of Campaign 4, we go from D&D, modified D&D, into we start to see things that are more Daggerheart-ish. Maybe a rule changes, or a character changes, or maybe the cards are slowly added. Magic changes. Characters change. So 2, 3, 4 years from now, when Campaign 4 ends, it is 100% Daggerheart 1.1, at which point we see the new version of Daggerheart that we think they're working on, because we know they're still playtesting. They throw up stuff every week about playtests. We know they're still changing things. We know they're still taking comments and criticism and looking at Daggerheart and going, oh yeah, they literally admitted it doesn't work. It doesn't work. We can't do Campaign 4 with Daggerheart. We don't have faith in Daggerheart. So here's D&D that you all know and love, with a bunch of people you love, a bunch of people you have no idea who they are. Sometimes you'll see the people you love. Sometimes you won't. Possibly the people you love are slowly withdrawing and passing the torch, which is completely fine. They're going to play a game you think you know and love, but it's going to be modified. And then maybe slowly we're going to stumble our way into this mutation that'll become Daggerheart 2027. But by then, will anybody care about Daggerheart? Which is, in closing, as our good friend Jeff's Games Blocks, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to Jeff Gamebox. He needs 1,000 subs. It's a clusterfuck. And any faith we had in Daggerheart is gone. No matter what they do with Daggerheart, unless it comes out with something amazing, you've killed it. You've told us you prefer D&D over Daggerheart. You've told us you don't have faith in Daggerheart. We don't have faith the fans will understand it. We don't have faith in our fans. After 10 years, we don't have faith in our fans, and we don't want to do anything that might incite another toxic riot. And in that case, I totally support them. After all, those motherfuckers threatened Laura Bailey's kid. And that's a line you just don't cross, Critical Role fans. So if they're sticking with D&D simply because they know it's safe, then I can forgive them everything else because you motherfuckers threatened Laura Bailey's kid. So yeah, shame on you, Critical Role fans. Shame on you. So in Critical Role's defense, we can whine and cry about the faith of D&D or the fate of Daggerheart, but let's face it, most of us listening to me speak don't fucking care. At the end of the day, none of us really care about 5e. Most of us don't play it. Most of us don't run it. Most of us go, oh my God, what happened to Dungeons and Dragons? Most of us, if we watch it, we either watch it sparingly or we watch Critical Role the same way we watch, I watch Walking Dead to make fun of it or because I'm curious, The fans are going to be fans. And as long as they cater and create the environment that they know the fans will invest in and that money train keeps flowing, there's no reason for them to change. And even if they said we're going to change, at the end of the day, this is a business. And if Hasbro says, hey, you want some advertising and merchandising revenue? Sure, because the plan was Dungeons and Dragons all along, guys. We were all wrong. I know they said they were going to do stuff, but it turns out, no, it was always D&D. Believe it, don't believe it. Truth of the matter is, they said what they're going to say. They're going to do what they're going to do. We can choose to agree or disagree with what they said during the interview. It's very interesting to see all the other members of the YouTube society are now saying, I apologize, I made a mistake. A lot of people are coming out since the interview and going, oh, you remember when I said they were going to do this? Yeah, I was wrong. I apologize. Turns out they're doing something else. So please forgive me, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it was always D&D. I know we said otherwise, but yeah, a lot of people are making the apology tour because, yeah, I'm not apologizing for what I said. I said what I said about Campaign 4. We'll see if I'm wrong, as I have been doing with a lot of my predictions lately. I've put it in an envelope. I've put my, Vegas odds on how much I think is going to come through. But in closing, I think we can say no matter what, a little bit of the faith anybody might have in Critical Role has been lost. And a lot of faith in whatever Daggerheart might have become has been lost. So the victim here at the end of the day, the chalk outline is Daggerheart. The second they said, we're going back to D&D. Oh no, guys, that was the plan all along since Campaign 3. Then why did you spend so much of No, that never happened, OGGM. We never killed off any connection between us and Wizards of the Coast. That was you but nope, that never happened. But nope, never. Nope. It's always the plan. Okay. So you never had any faith that Daggerheart would be the thing you spent telling us about since 2023, because Campaign 4 was always meant to be Dungeons and Dragons, and Campaign 5, well, maybe that'll be Daggerheart, but by then, is anybody going to care about Daggerheart? I don't think so. I think Campaign 4 is going to be a mistake because it's just too large. It's too clunky. It's an environment that the fans don't get. I don't think Brandon Lee Mulligan has the strength to pull it off. I think the player choices are going to end up being a mistake. And the future of Daggerheart has gone from this is going to be the #1 seller to, oh no!
Grip so tight was the improv spark. Feels like shadows playing in the dark. critical role.